Counselor H. Biswas of IGNOU. So now today actually the review classes, because I have to take the review of MMPH 001 complete review. So that is it contains a block. There are total 5 blocks, and we have to discuss some of the important points and some of the questions also. See the relevant questions which are likely to be some possibility in the exam also. So today's session I am just structured in such a way. So I will touch upon most of the important points of all the units. There are total 15 units. So I'll show you some of the PPTs important points. Then after that we have to show you some of the questions, different questions of unit-wise questions. So anyway, let's start. So as usual, see there are block number 1, as we said, there is the understanding the organizations. We have to understand the organizations, and then there are 3 units: approaches to the organization, understanding the organizations, then theoretical frameworks, organizational effectiveness, and block number 2 is basic of the organizational structures. And again there are units, 2 units, unit number 4 and 5, fundamentals of the organizational structures. What are the factors affecting the organizational structures, that you have to see. And then block number 3 is your organizational design. Unit number there are 2 units. Unit number 6 is your topology of the organizational design and contemporary organizational design. And block number 4 is your job design. There are the approaches to job design and emerging the trends at work. And block number 5 is your internal dynamics. There is a role of the organizational culture in design and organizational conflict. Now you see here, before go in details, basically what is our objectives to today's overview. First things, you have to see what is the organizational theory and the design, because it is a field that the field of study where you have to organizational function, what are the functions and how these functions are important, why these functions are needed, and that part we have to see and try to analyze the particular all the things. And apart from that, the structure is also important. So structures and how to manage all these structures, and it is more effectively we can do it, and to ultimately aim to achieve the goals of any organizations. So it involves the analysis of the organizational structures. Different processes are there, theories are also there, and the culture to improve the overall organizational goals. So that you have to see. And then at the same time, performance also, how to improve the performance. So why I am saying all this thing, because that is ultimately the summary of the this courses. Now there are so many theories and methods are there to creating the changing of the organizations, and it includes the aspect of the formalizations, then your specializations, and some of the control systems, and all which must be strategically aligned with the business strategy, and especially the organizational environments and your goals and the technology also there. So that all these things. Now some of the core components are there. What are the core components? That is one of your organizational theory, then your study of the organizational different format, then your how it has interacted, that you have to explore it. Then we have to go through the detail of the different key components also, and how it is utilizing. Now see, okay, so it is groups of first things, the organization as we know, there is a group of people who are collected to work as a common goal with your collective efforts. Then organization works through the two concepts. There are two concepts. One is coordination and the delegations. Means authority you have to give it all. Then delegation is necessary to allocate the group members with equal work and you are accordingly to their capability, and the coordination is required also to achieve the organizational goal with the precisions. Very accurately you have to see. Organizing is a subject of the larger activity of the managing. It is a process by which the structure of the organizations is scattered, is created and maintained. The process now the processes includes, there are so many processes are included. The determinations of the specific activities and the creation of a network of the positions, persons for the purpose of the planning, motivation, communications and coordination and the control. All these things are needed. Now some of the organizational boundary, as we earlier also session we have already discussed, there are some basic things. There are two parts. One is interlayers. You can say the structures, the stocks and technology and people. There is all of the boundaries of things. And apart from the other things, the external boundary is there, where we can take some environment is coming in point, and then your some of the materials, that the input side is the materials, capital, human. There is another boundary layers where the competitors are there, and then your some of the union, some of the regulations are there, customers are there. There is another layer of things which are directly part of your external, dealing with the external parts. Then see the differentiation and the integrations. And in any organizations there are so many departments are there, so many functional departments are there. So some of the differentiations, basically you have to see the departmental and function wise, and finally you have to integrate towards the objectives of the company. So organization system is characterized by two diverse forces that at the same time, in order to maintain unity among the differentiated parts and form of a complete whole, every system has a reciprocal process of the integrations. See, closed systems, one things we have seen that the closed system is there, and another is your open system. So closed systems, it is contained in isolated from its environment, because which is not advisable for the patient approval scenario. So open system is on which you constantly interact with the environment, so that you can get a more inputs, more scenario of the worldwide what is going on. Accordingly you can set your goals or make a strategy. So open system is good, and different idea, creativity can be achieved. Now organization as a systems, there is input output mechanisms are there, and the sources and the applied processing functions, the process, the activities and the functions that are the performed to the transform the resources, and output basically the products and the services and come out from the systems. So here actually input output mechanism means in this one of the input side, and there is the process units and then output. So these are simple things are there, the systems. Now here actually some of the diagrams, the system of the your interaction with the environment, how it has interacted with the environment. So you see in the central circle where it is a inputs, then transformation mechanisms and output. There is a totally internal parts, and the external side there are some of the interface are there, and then you see this side is your resources, there is the energy, then your materials, informations. It's all are from the input, but from the externally you are taking it there. So both the internal inputs and the external inputs club together and send it to the process units, and finally we are giving the output. Again the same thing from the user end, feedback and all this, what are the informations also you can take it back to the again in the systems as a loop. You can rectify or modify accordingly for the next forthcoming projects. So there are some 7S, McKinsey 7S model is there. The global management consultancy McKinsey has taken up. It is the basic tool for the. So therefore, at times there are the 7S in the model, and each of the S is presented a figure 3, and some figure is given. There are 3 figures, but ultimately it is elaborated in the table number 4 in your study material in the details. So there is no particular order in the 7S. So no starting point, no finishing point. Every are integrated to it. The structure, strategy, systems, staff, skill, style, and your superordinated goals all are integrated. You can see the diagram. I don't know this. Yes, the diagram is here. So that is a 7S model diagram. Here you see there is no starting point. So all the units are as if a starting points and integrated way. So that is a very unique model, 7S McKinsey. Now the organization, another thing is historical. There are some basically the theories. There are a lot of other theories are there. So main thing your classical organization theories, neurologies, and pre-classical era, and your modern theories. So that theory part are important. Maybe question may come from the theories. You have to explain the things. The organization is built for a 4 fundamental foundational solid. That is your pillars. We can say it is a pillar. The division of the work, there is a scalar and the functionals, process, structures, span of the control, all are your make the organizations better. And if you consider all these things, the division of the work very nicely, and structures are at par with the global conditions, and any challenges can meet. So, and span of control is also important because you have to control the people and to see their performance are up to the mark or not. So span control is also important. So there are some of the diagram is there, which in the first session we have discussed already. But now here actually just recap the things. I mean, just recall the things. Where is the span of the control in the top level? Normally the span of control is less because they are only main directors and other people are discussing the things. They have to take the informations and control only the limitations. But when you are in the lower side, I mean the narrow span control, where the supervisors and the managers are controlling, their span is little more, and because they are handling the more people. But as per the rule says, if your span is more, so sometimes you cannot control the in proper way. So narrow span, I mean small span is advisable, because so that you can handle the better way, you can see their performance, and day to day you can instruct and follow up can be easy. So then another thing is your neoclassical approach. The neoclassical approach is the your bifurcated into 2 schools of management thoughts. That is your human relation school and the behavioral schools. So different thought processes are there, and the behavioral science theory, the group behavior and the interpersonal relations have significantly influenced how human beings work and the work. So and operate can be done. So the behavioral science theory are saying. Then your fundamental foundational principles of the neoclassical approach, there are some the individuals way and the work group and participative management. This is the area where the approach are the applications are there to, so that you can better so actually here what happens, that structure is one of the things, and this different approach is also there. So it is all together, everything has to be aligned, because and job responsibilities, job cultures, everything are to be synchronized way you have to maintain, so that ultimate aim to better performance and to reach the objectives set by the management. Now, theoretical frameworks, they are actually the organizational structure benefits. What are the benefits? Because if we have a good structures, definitely a lot of benefits are there. One thing, we can have a clear communications. We can have a greater clear communications. Role is one important. Role, duties, and the authority, and that should be prescribed everything clearly. So everybody has to perform their particular that role. They have to perform as per the targeted. And coordination of the structures, all the levels should be coordinated in such a way so that there should not be any loopholes. All the flow of information is very important. Control is another aspect, and the decision making responsibilities, because these things are very core area where the your thing. So that's why some framework should be there, and within this framework, the particular different aspects are important, and that's why we can say it is all the beneficial part. Then modern theories, basically they are linking the process, decision making process, basically goal of the organizations, that is your socio technical approach, then your the contingency of the or the situational approach is another approach, then the fundamental assumptions of the modern organizational theory, entrepreneurial organizations, machine organizations, diversified organizations. So that way you can categorize. There are different organizations are there. What type of approach they are, what theory they are adopting. So it is some of the theories has given. It's a different type of organizations, and so accordingly have to see what type of structures are required. Then professional organization, there are lot of list is there. Innovations organizations and machinery organizations, goal models, the internal process models, resource based, your stakeholder models, then your competitive value models, and your abundance model. So this are list of models are there, and you have to understand all the models, and as a short note, the chances will be there. Any models you can be expected from the questions. Then some organizational effectiveness, we are now talking all the systems as some whole system. You have to see the ultimate aim to efficient and effectiveness. So one part you see there is a human relations model, and other way you see there are open systems models. So that has a synchronized and very coordinated way that you have to do it internal focus and then external focus also. And internal side, the left hand side you see in your all are your internal sides, human resource relations, your cooperative teamwork, then your support cultures, stable hierarchy, and your rule cultures, and the internal process model, we can say it. And other side is your rational goal models, where the things are your external focus basically, and different differentiations. So there are main things, your open systems and your monitor cultures, then your rational farm objective cultures is all are there. So you can see what are the stability and the control, other what are the flexibility. So both the things are that parameters you have to see. And strategies to improve the organizational effectiveness, and then making use of the human resource, focus on the education and the growth. It should evaluate the strengths and the weakness of the organizations. As you know, the SWOT, SWOT analysis, where you have to identify what are the strengths, what are the weakness, and what are the opportunity, and what are the threats. Basically, first two, that is your strength and weakness, SW, that is basically we can say it is an internal part, because where the organization's strength and weakness you have to identify. And the external side, you have to see what type of opportunities are there, what type of challenges are there. At the same time, the threats. Threats is also what type of problems, what are the barriers, what are the competitiveness, everything are Yes. So that analysis is a very important part. Training and development is another aspect where you keep the customer in mind and you work on the quality services and you use the technology. Technology using is also one of the important, because that infrastructure within the infrastructure should be technology biased, technology oriented. All the latest technology should be utilized for better communications, better informations and other things also. So fundamentals of your organizational structures, again it is important, because the modern organizations are open systems mostly. Changes in the environments and social, political and technical and your economic, legal, that's why it's all a changing parameters. Because of that changes, structures is also related with the things. So structures are depends on the what type of changes are likely to be adopted. Means because of this environment, or it may be it is all of the influence points that the environment is one of the things. Social systems, political influences, technical and your economic level, all are your influences, so that you have to need for restructure, structuring is required. Changes in strategies often necessitated changes in the organizational design, because some strategy, new strategy, you are trying to adopt the things or things. Definitely said it necessitates the changes in the organizational design also, because what type of responsibility should be there, what type of structure should be there, what are the job specifications, job authorities, everything are to be redesigned again, and think about these things. So there are universal perspectives of the organizational design. There are one is the bureaucratic models, then the behavioral model and contingency perspectives. So different type of models are there. We are evaluating. Now strategy part, external environments, because strategy, there are very big area. Internal part is also the every levels, every department should have some strategy, and all these functional strategies are to be aligned with the business strategies. That is the main things. So general environmental consists of the economic, technical, socio-cultures, political, legal and international dimensions also, which have an impact on the organizations and its tasks of the environment. So a stable environment that remains fairly constant, but normally all the organizations are aim is to maintain the stability and sustainability like this. But sometimes it may not be happen, because due to some distortion, due to some of the environmental conditions and other factors are there. So always it is a continuous process, dynamic natures. So all the time you have to fine tuning the things, so that you can adjust every time, every moment through these way, structural changes or modifications, or maybe the objectives. You have to set new objectives. So all the time you have to fine tune the things to align with the market stability, so that you make it stability again. So technology is one of the another part. Technology refers to the process by which an organization converts the inputs, that is the people, material, equipment, money, your plant and the facility, etc. So technology, as you know, there are ICT, one of the infrastructural technology, ICT for the information, for the communication and technology, ICT is there. So it is just like one of the infrastructures. So through this way you can flourish your organizations, where you require everything can be possible. So universal perspectives of the organization, again the size. Size is one of the very important, because sometimes the big companies are make a trouble, because they have to make the strategy accordingly. If it is a small size of organizations, then their strategy will be different point aspect of theirs. So size is one of the important. The research tells that the large organizations have a different structural features than small organizations. It is actually true, because the big ones, there are structural area, different functions are there, so their objectives will be little bit different rather than the small. The small structure, the form of a structures, it is the firm, when it is a small and entrepreneurial, the structure consists of a top manager and only a few workers. Those who are the assistants are like this, and performing overlapping the activities. Centralizations and decentralizations and other issues are there. If it is a very big company, so maybe you have to decentralize some of the things. But if it is a small company, then centralizations can be possible, can be continued. So whether the power of the decision making lies at the upper and the lower levels of the chain of the command. That is another thing. First things you have to centralize means you have to see where your control, decision making process, where who will report to whom, all this information, all these instructions, who is controlling the thing. So some decision making center should be there, and that is a very important key area for the centralizations and these things. And if it is a number of plants, there's more plants, more branches, so definitely it should be a decentralization process should be there, so that authority can be distributed, and accordingly things can be, all the performance and activities it will be improved, and productivity, as in terms of productivity also to be increased. Now there are some of the 5 basic parts of the organization. That is the top management strategic aspect, and then your apex, then your middle management, technical core. This side is the technical professional staffs and your administrative support staffs. So all together it is some of the parts of the organizations are given. Now restructure strategies. So the structural strategies, you see, as I said, sometimes depends on the scenario, present scenario, maybe required some of the restructurings. So that time you have to take care lot of points, and your organizational strategy, what what type of strategy is there. Then your operational strategy is also to be considered in a top priority. Then seek to retain the advantages of the small organizations even when it grows in the size and complexity. So increase in the specializations, that is the main thing, at the level of the internal differentiations in the roles, functions and the divisions, higher skills and the multiplicity of the occupations, increased use of the formal systems and the procedures, and shifting encompass from the hierarchical of lateral communications. So this is all of the following areas where the development needs, necessary. Purpose of the organizational design. Now coming to some of the factors, what are the factors affecting? So broadly, an organization is designed to realize a number of objectives, and this could be your support of the organizational strategy. The structure should be designed in such a way so as to assure the realizations and of the organization's goal and the objectives. So that is the main prime things. You have to see your objectives, what are the objectives. Arrange the resources in the most efficient and effective way. So that is another aspect. Resources things, accuracy, and they should be skilled enough to provide the effective divisions. It's all we are talking about the your design, and in terms of your to reduce the factor of the structures. So this is the area to be focused for effective, so that the effect can be reduced. Another is effective coordinations. This is another thing, I put it in a bold way. The effective coordinations of the organizations, so that all the activities clarify and decision making process can be smoother. Similarly, you can take the decisions. To enhance and the educate and the elucidate the lines of the communications up, down and across the organization. So communication should be from top to bottom, and your bottom to bottom, and side by side also. So communication should be bilaterals, and very robust system should be there, so that it should not be any interrupted or there should not be any dropout. Any drops should be there, and in time and speed also. So that type communications are required. Then your comment, unity of the comment, another aspect. Then your add some value system, clear role and value are also important for the organizational development. Then your centralized or decentralized already I have discussed. Now the changes in the environment, it is taken account of changes of the environment, because by virtue of system it is a phenomena, it is unavoidable, because the changes in the environment cannot predict 100%, but you have to prepare for that, to take care and to how to cope up the situations. So which can include the economy, legislation, markets, technological developments, geography, cultural environment and social environment. So all these parts are, it is sometimes beyond control. So you have to prepare accordingly, and at the time of designing, at the time of structuring, you have to take care so that it can be, the system should be very robust and not affect very much. So some of the topological organizational structure is given. So there is a topological thing. There is a general manager. This system, the line management type, so that the instruction is coming from straight away from the top to bottom, and they have to responsible for this. There is another way, the topological diagrams. That is, your board of directors are there. Then things, part of managerial divisions. And there are different divisions are there. Divisions manager, division number 1, division number 2, division 3. There are different divisions. Again, the system are the same thing. So that is the another design for this. Now it is some of the topological diagrams for your functional, where the different functional areas are there. Your finance, your marketing, your productions, R&D, and your HR planning. So different functional area. What the way the structure is there. Then hybrid organizations are also there, where you can see there's something, your operational system is also there, and your administrative normal structure is also there. This is a combination of the three hybrid. Accounting part is there, and the finance part is there, and everywhere your different vice presidents, auto part and engineering part. So there is some sort of your hybrid nature side, sales, human resource, marketing, like this. Another diagram, this is your another things here. This case, another diagram is there. General manager. This is the project management part. When is a project manager structuring for the project management, project work? So this type of things. Here, project 1, project 2, general manager 1. Then is to report to. There are 2 project manager are reporting to these things, and under the project manager. Again, project 1, maybe there 1 project manager, and that project manager under these things, there are so many product manager, then engineering, then quality, HRM. These all are the team numbers basically. Then this is another structure of for your project oriented company. Now matrix organizations are there. There are some topological diagram for matrix organization, where everything are mixed. I mean, your operational part is also there, and normal part is also there. Both are mixing. So this is more appropriate. I mean, popularly adopted by the most of the multinational companies are matrix organization type. And this another is your inverted pyramid structures. That is also applicable for where the most of the those are the companies are directly customer oriented companies, directly dealing with the computer things and the publics. For Amazon, Flipkarts, and others, the company, these are where their service nature of company. There, all these things are directly, the customers are very important, and the frontliners of the employees are responsible to solve all the provision, all the decision making process of the things. In this case, CEO in the bottom top, he is just for the strategy purposes and all these things. But day-to-day functioning and decision-making process are by the frontliners also. So that's why it is a inverted pyramid structures. And your Michael Porter's are competitive forces and your strategies. He has also given some of the competitive forces things. The threat of a new entrants, the power of the suppliers, the power of the buyers, the trade substitutes, and rivalry you're among the existing competitors. What are the rivals? Your competitors are there. You have to see, you have to careful of them, and accordingly you have to make your strategy. So choosing the appropriate organizational design, at the time of those who are designer on structural making parts, they have to inquire the other competitors what they are doing, what type of design they have already adopted, what type of market share they have. So based on these, you have to design these things so that you can have a little up. Your share market will be more competitive. So this is the aspect, what type of forces are there and the strategies are there. It may be from the new entities, the new product, other company has launched. So that is one of the your things, your forces. You have to see, you have to cope up the situations. Maybe you have to redesign, you have to your product can be more features should be added to meet their competitions. So all these aspects are from the design side. Here some of the plant management is given. What the things, the manufacturing management and your sales manager, what the way the team, how to assign the things is a part of your design part. What the way you have to assign the job, responsibility and jobs. Another things you have to see here, the different approaches and the job design parts. Then they are actually at the time of job design, you have to see what type of job rotations are there, induction program, orientation program is required, and how to job your engineering. Job engineering means specifications. Before that you have to job analysis part is there. Then after that you have to job specifications, job design, descriptions. All these are to be one by one. You have to analyze the things. Job enrichments and their job encourage enlargements. So all these things are the part of your job designs. Then your job characteristics approach, different characteristics, and in that case you have to skilled. There are 5 core jobs are there for the different dimensions: skilled variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback. These all are the different 5 things are required for different approaches. At the time of approach, you have to see all these points. Or rather, I can say all the different dimensions for the characteristics of the approach. As a designer, you have to see the different approaches and what type of core job dimensions you have to note it down. The skill is there or not, what type of skill variety is required or not, which level is required, what type of skills, human skills, technical skills, and behavioral skills, that part you have to see how much. Conceptual skills, that skill defining, percentage of the skills defining are very much needed. Tasks accordingly you have to see what type of tasks are these. So now again the technology, ICT, as I said, it changes the way of the farm to business and the create values, because ICT just like one of the pathway, I can say the infrastructure pathway to run the business and to flourish the business. As a stimulus, seamlessly you can do these things. So ICT as a support systems where you can communicate the things, you can technology and information. You see the ICT name itself, information, communication and technology. That means correct information is required, robust, correct, good communication system you required, and technology as such. So all together it is a infrastructure. It's some sort of infrastructure. You can support these things as much as possible. You have to take the good ICT in the organizations, and you can build your structures. So detail of the few changes in the mentioned below, that is a job insecurity and the work intensify flexibilisms and the classness. So some of the changes are also there. And detail of the few changes and your mentioning below, that is your rescheduling working arrangement is another important, because maybe required your few changes required, because maybe this schedule work may not be very much effective. So that case you have to reschedule accordingly to fit your jobs and fit your level up the skill levels like this. Then your compressed work weeks, you have to compress maybe 40 hours, 42 hours, to that timing and all these things are also to be, you compress the things according, or you may be increased depending on the situations. Part-time work also, it may or may not be. So then again you have to rethink these things. Part-time work really required or not, or outsourcing also there. Then your job sharings, that is also important. You have to build such situations where people can help each others. That job sharing can, because some one person is overloaded, and that case you have to share his load to others, or maybe you put two persons for this particular these jobs. Accordingly, you have to see how to best sharing can be possible. Telecommuting, and commuting describes the work done in the home or remote locations via use of the computer and the facsimile machines linked with the central office. So that case now it is already flexible timing and all these things. People work from home are already, most of the multinational companies are there. Now slowly there are 40%, 60% are there. They are trying to encourage the people should come in the office. After the COVID-19, we have observed a lot of things are like this. The telecommunications, commuting work are important. So computer work, you can do it in your home. You can have access to some password and link will be given by the centers, and within this you can log in and you can access all the files what you are, as if you are doing in the office. So that way you can also do in the home. And after that you can again resend the things file, and you log out, automatically it will be disconnected, and office security and all these things, safety can be maintained. So that kind of things are also there nowadays, so no problem at all. Call centers are as usual already there. These all are basically the part of your changes in the different scheduling or work. Then your internal integrations and external adaptations are important. This is a cultural point of view. There are two major functions, and your case cultural values of the your body shop, as one of the case studies. I think in the earlier sessions I have discussed what the way they are given. So idea is not only to business purpose, you have to branding, and at the same time you have to see the social your responsibility, how it is valued culturally, it is okay or not, culture society has accepted or not. So active self-esteem protect your planet's environmental point of view against the animal testings and community trade and defending the human rights. These all are the major functions are the area there. I mean the value, cultural values. Then adaptability culture. There are so many cultural activities are there. And in this case, the culture requires the organization to be flexible, adopt rapid changes in the environment. So while keeping its strategic focus in the externals. So that case your cultural adaptability is very much important, because when you are dealing with some external or maybe other countries, people or customers or your clients, suppliers, so they have a different background of cultures. So that you have to align with them, so that better we can perform, and communications can be perfectly okay, and everywhere. That's why sometimes it is required to adopt the cultures also. Their languages, where the barriers are there, you have to identify. Mission cultures, in this culture the organization's strategic focus in the external, but its environmental requirement is stability. Then your clan culture that represents a family-like organizations, then bureaucratic cultures, that is mostly the government sector, and PSUs are there, where the big companies are there. The last of the technological culture takes example for the organizational, where the focus is internal and with a consistency orientations. And your Robbins and Matthew 2008, he identifies some of the situational factors that might lead to the cultural changes. What are the situational factors? Yes, dramatic crisis, then your leadership turnover, and your life cycle stage, age of the organization, size of the organization. So all are he has identified, which are to be look after the things. Then two predominant views of the conflict. Now the conflict are the traditional and your interactionist view, because friction will be there, but how much is it permissible, and the tolerance level you have to see, and you have to adopt the things. So traditional view of the conflict is always you have considered as a negative, but it is not a negative. Sometimes the conflict is welcome, is required for better decision making process. Criticisms, comments, grievances are required so that you can rectify, you can modify the things. So interactionist view that takes a more rational approach in the organization should be there for in the conflict. And organizations without any overt your conflict can fall into the danger of the apathy and they become non-responsive to the change. Means it is required. Means healthy in a healthy conflict always welcome. So that. So success of the organizational conflict. How to success this organizational sources of the conflict? What are the sources of the conflict? Why the conflict is arises? There is one of the goal incompatibility. Incompatibility is the sum of the sections and it is not mismatch. Maybe the production department they are different goal. Maybe the HRM is different goal. Sometimes it is conflict. So goal are to be mismatched sometimes. Tax interdependency. The tax are not dependent. Some of the other work will be complete. Then only you can start. So that type of things are there. So interdependency is not there. That's why sometimes is required. When basically tax independency is required so that he can progress. He can complete the work in a state way. So one way tax dependence. Then your communication distortions is also one of the aspect for the conflict will start. Communication okay, it is not repeated. Anyhow, another thing is your miscommunications is also sometimes create a conflict. So formal and informal communications is also important. As you know, there are some of the rule and regulation, the procedures are there accordingly. Any organization that is always is formal, you can say it's a formal. So there should not be any conflict. Everybody are follow the same rules. Everybody are getting the salaries. So there is no ambiguities, no conflict as such. But sometimes, but it may not be happen for the organization sometimes. So to rectify the things when you are go for the rectifications or modifications. So you have to take both the informations, formal informations and as formal. So you have to communicate with the formally, and as at the same time your informal communication is also required to take their viewpoints, to take their actual mindset, to inquire this through this union. You have to discuss individual things. Apart from your office time or any conference or open systems where you can discuss very friendly individual to individual face to face discussions. So you have to acquire a lot of informations, or that is the way you have to communicate the things for better structure, for better designs. So that type of communication, so both the communications are important in formal and informal conditions. It is healthy. Healthy competitions are required where you can get the due to competitiveness the performance, sometimes the performance will be better. It is as per the things are there. Anyhow, so this is the way I have now completed all the units. I have touched upon the things important parts. Now we can now see some of the important questions from the different units. That later we can discuss about it from the exam point of view or the preparation point of view. Now discuss the meaning and the characteristics. Now we are talking about the block number 1. It is a block 1 pertaining to block 1. You can see in the slides in the top right, I have written the B1, means block number 1. That is a suggestive questions are there. That is discussing the meaning of the characteristics of the organizations. So different characteristics you have to explain the things. It may be a 10 number questions, maybe the short questions, maybe the broad question 20 marks, whatever the way. The pattern is there, the IGNOU exam patterns that you have to follow. Last 3 to 4 years question paper is sufficient if you download it and see the patterns. Then your what are the different approaches of the organizations? Then you explain the 7S model. Just now I have revised the things. So explain the 7S models. That questions are, as a short note you can get it 5 marks or maybe 5 marks normally, because you have to give it the diagram. You give the diagram and explain of the all these 7S, structure, staffs, your skill, everything. What are the 7S? And you have to mention there that there is no starting point. All are integrated way. Anywhere you can start the things. So that is very important things. Write the merit and demerits of the different approaches. As I said, there are 3 main approaches are there that you have to highlight it. You have to explain some of the approaches and you give some example things. And how it is for the organizational structures, how it is important. Then as a practicing manager, which particular approach do you find more hands-on? So they have to prepare. What is the organizational effectiveness? Then how it can be evaluated, and illustrate the appropriate criteria for the seating examples. So this type of questions are there. Then what, according to Rensis Likert, are the determinants of the organizational effectiveness? So different parameters, how it is measuring the things. So resin Likerts are one of the support systems are there to identify the things. So parameter measurement of the things. So you have to comment here all these things or give me some example or experiences. Now coming to block number 2. Now block number 2, some of the questions are important. That is, discuss the meaning of the characteristics of the organizations. This is the meaning of the characteristics. Earlier actually we have seen the first question, that is the meaning of the, I think it is the same question. Oh, okay, it is the same question. Now describe how organizational act as a systems. Now here talking about the systems. So you have to, and what are the different approaches to the organizations. I think now it is repeated most of the things. As a practicing manager, okay, I think it is the same page. Now outlining the universal, outlining the universal perspectives of the organizational design. Then briefly explain the design parameters and the second generation of the models of the organizational design. So design parameters you have to explain. This is the way the questions may come, not exactly, sentence can be changed like this. Otherwise the themes of the questions are same. What are the key factors that affect organization design? So what are the factors are affecting the design, these questions. Then describe the concept of organizational effectiveness, how to create the more effective of your organizations. Then what is the matrix structures? That also I have already shown. The matrix structures, as a short note, you can expect it. And when it is used, when you use, that you have to explain. Then what are the factors that influence an organization's design? So what are the factors of the influence factors that also for the changes that your social, your technology and your other things are your environment, all are the influences in the organization designs. So are the factors relevant to of the modern day organizations as well? So you have to give your opinion, and based on your where you are working or any experiences you have, you can also elaborate the things. Describe the issues that can be faced in a contingent environment. That is also important part. So this type of questions you can expect it. Then another things, your block number 4 and 5 mixing, discuss the various approaches of the job designs. So what type of approaches are there? That also you have to design. Then describe the contemporary job design techniques. That is also important part. And your how can the organizations explain the component, a quality work level, that is also there. What is the 8 practices, QWL. Then you discuss the role of a supervisors and explain the component of the organizational culture. Then your how can an organization socialize its employees into learning in culture. It is very important questions. Illustrate your examples. How can an organization socialize its employees into learning and in cultures? So learning, basically the part of your R&D is the training and development parts. Training and development, that sections has to take a lead part, where the leadership can be a proper calendar wise training program should be there in all levels. Computer training and your capacity building training and your human skill training, technical trainings in particular fields, financial training. So everywhere the things are required, and you have some good library on learning area should be there, so that this is the way you have to promote the things. So organizations socialize, you have to socialize the things, the employees in the beginning, at the entry date when the employees are joining, and that time itself you can start this type of thing, so that in forthcoming day when they are posted in particular positions, they can also easily, they can smoothly work these things. So that is the time highlight. So most of the training program are from the initial stage only. Once you are in a responsible positions or workloaded, it may not be possible to parallelly to do the work at the same time the training program, attending the training program. It may not be possible, but it is required. Upgradation is also always required. Learning process, it should be rather learning institute, learning company, L type corporations. So means where everything are to be learned, then only you can adopt the technology very fast, and culturally also it will be good. So explain the relationship between the organization structures and the cultures. So culture is one of the very effect. If you good structures, then culture will be good. If structure is not good, culture also will be good, because the discrepancy will be there, to conflict and everything other will be arise. So that's why to how to reduce the conflict. So only things, or it will be a good structure is there, and in turns culture will be good, because everybody are happy, they are in job satisfactions are there, good structures, they are responsible, they are feeling responsible, being a part of the company, owning the company work. So that type of feelings will be developed. How do cultures represent the structural prototypes in the organization? So this is a type of questions are there. And then another, why it is bicultural audit. Audit is also important. You see the that's why some of the merger and acquisitions, it is a necessity during the merger and your acquisitions. Explain the strategy in the bicultural your audit that organizations can adopt during the transaction period, because when these merger and acquisitions are happening, so cultural difference will be there, because the one of the company are different cultures, different way they have their procedures, their rules and regulations. Other company, when they are merging, there some of the cultural differences are there. So that things are very crucial times. You have to manage everything, and that transitions are very important. Explain the nature of the organizational conflict. What type of nature of the conflict are there? That you have to explain the things. That type of questions. Then Why do managers create the conflict within an organization? Why? Sometimes maybe the workload is there, stress is there maybe the not understanding, concept is not clear. There are so many issues are there that one by one you have to highlight it, and it should be relevant. The conflict theories के साथ आपको relevant होना चाहिए. And then what is the inverted U-shaped relationships between the conflict and the performance? Because as you know, if the conflict is certain levels, it will hamper your product performance also. So it should be in the same direction, same line. Mindset should be in the same line, and both the things should be aligned with the objectives of the company. Otherwise, the performance can be deteriorated. So again, the conflict and performance as one sort of relations are there. So it is an inverted relation, because if the conflict is more, performance will be less. If your conflict is less, performance will be more. So that type of relationships are there. How can managers avoid the dysfunctional conflict? So you can give some examples, and what are the managers should do to maintain the things. So it has some of the examples like this. So this is the way. So okay, I think thank you very much. This is the way I have to cover up all the units and the review parts, and other suggestive questions also I have given, and you have to hopefully can do it better way. You have to go through these all the questions and previous sessions also. So okay, thank you.